And I always tell people, they'll say, "Oh, I just look awful." I said, "How many times do you get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and say, 'Oh God, I look awful'?" I always get up and say, "Hey,
Hey.
not too bad, not too bad at all." You know,
Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show, where we are joined by Paul Brooks, and we're going to try our first soda of the night, and it is the Cherry Limeade, and it's made by Frosty, which makes a lot of good sodas, I think. So let's dive on in and see what it tastes like.
Paul's picks.
It's cherry.
I like it. It's not so sweet as some of the other root beers we've had before. That's I don't know, Paul, what do you think?
I agree with the taste and I like it, but if you say, "Do you want some more?" and I say, "No."
Pull your microphone to you a little bit.
Okay.
There you go. So tell us your feedback.
I said, I like the taste okay, but if you say, "Would you like more?" I'd say, "No, thank you."
Well,
Like you wouldn't take a whole bottle of it.
that's
No, no.
so it's not when you probably if Paul could replace some of the soda with a splash of water and then take some more of the soda out and replace that with some VO, then it'd be perfect. And then take all the soda out to where it's just VO.
I think that's a good idea, and I honestly think that being the taste of that I'd rather have Jameson.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a little more of an Irish whiskey, and there's nothing like a silly Irishman that's drunk. So that's I would not discourage anybody from trying it, but no, I would not want to drink it all the time. No.
well, that should cause the sales to go through the roof.
No kidding.
I want Frosty to have all the success in their business and all that, you know. So,
It's just not going to come from Paul Brooks.
yeah,
They
yeah.
can't all be winners.
Well, I like it.
I think it tastes a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of cherry, and it kind of reminds me of medicine.
I'll tell you, Mason won't know this. Paul, and you probably hated it, is why you like it, or why you'll know what I'm talking about, or why you don't like it. But this reminds me of Shasta, like the kind of cherry, and I used to like that stuff. Like you'd go out to IGA for a nickel or something and get a Shasta out of the.
I would. I'm not going to comment on that because my brother's wife works for Shasta in Georgia, and I love Shasta.
There you go.
Not,
Get it to
but
the one.
anyhow, no. Yeah, you're probably right.
It's
You're
probably why
right.
you don't care for it.
No, as a matter of fact, let me have a little taste of
Yeah.
it. See what
Now
it's
you
like.
can take a Shasta.
Give it another try.
I'm telling you.
Nah.
No change.
But again,
That's what we like is honesty.
Yeah, I wish Frosty all the.
All the
Oh,
success.
Frosty, they make a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
They'll be just fine.
They used to have. I don't know if they still make it or not. Maybe this is Frosty root beer.
It's on the
Have it.
shelf right behind you.
That's one of the best root beers.
Vanilla root beer.
You could have
Yeah.
picked it.
And the reason why I know about that is because my brother that lives in Utah, they're Mormons, and that was one of the only sodas they could drink because it didn't have something in it. I don't know what it was, whether it was, I don't know whether it was whatever they put in sodas. There was something in it that they could drink, so they drank a lot of Frosty root beer.
Well,
Isn't that something? Oh, yes, I love it, yeah.
so we're starting back to school now, right? Is this
Yeah.
day 2?
This is
This is day 3.
2. No, let's
Oh,
see,
yeah,
yeah,
it is day
Monday,
3.
Tuesday, yes, you're right.
He loves it so much you can't. It just seems like
it's,
too
good to be back.
No, it is good to be back. So there's a lot of my kids on my bus that I truly love them. I really do. They're great kids, and
What do you do for the school?
I'm a bus driver. professional bus driver.
Professional
I like
bus
to
driver.
add that because, yes, I enjoy driving the school bus. I was going to retire this year, and they came and said that we don't have enough bus drivers the way it is.
They were going to shut the whole school system down if you.
Yeah, and I said, well, for the right kind of money, I can do anything, whatever you say, you know. But no, I decided to come back, and they said, well, thank you. I said, I'm just like an old dog. I'm really loyal. So I came back, and I'm going to go another year. Went and had my physical, and the lady over there said, we'll see you next year. And I said, no, you won't see me.
We're going out
year.
together.
I don't know. But I do enjoy driving the bus.
How many years have you been doing that now?
This is my 15th year.
That's hard to believe.
15.
Yeah, and people say, "How do you stand those kids?" They're kids, They're just kids that. I mean, I was a little boy one time, and I remember how ornery I could be, and and little girls are the same way. I mean,
And the person that drove your horse and buggy carriage took you home. They
did,
the guy was nice to you.
and it was a whole lot different back when I rode. And I didn't ride the bus. I had a cousin that lived out in the country, and I rode home with him a couple of times, and we got kicked off both times too. But you could do that then. You can't do that now. I mean, bus driver back then, you're bad. Put on the brake, out. You can walk home from here. And they did that a lot back then. But
I'm sure there's a lot of stories from kids about you driving the bus, but one that I remember is a kid from my class. We were riding the bus home together, and we were getting off at his house. I think you know who I'm talking about.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, you get to where you drop us off. You open up the door, and you turn to us kids. We're probably, 11 years old, 12 years old. He turns to us, and he says, watch out for the Wolverines, kids. And just shuts the door, and we walk out. We were freaked out.
You said that to him every single day you dropped him off, didn't you? And he always would look at you like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's either that or I used to drop the Hancock kids off. And they walk up that long lane. And I say, hey, there's werewolves out there. Don't you? You better watch out what's going up the hill.
Well, that was Hayden Kuntz that used to say that
drop
too.
us off at Kuntz's.
And I remember they were talking about it at different times in their childhood, and Hayden would still be back. I'm like, I don't even understand what he's saying. Like, why would he even say that?
It was hilarious. That's all I know.
Because he's just straight-faced as could be.
And then he just opens up the door, closes it. That's all he says.
Well, it's
that's
because
it.
You're a Kuntz. You deserve it. That's to your dad.
I tell my kids all kinds of things on the bus. They'd be ornery, especially not so much the little girls, but the boys would be ornery. And I'll say, you ever been drugged behind a bus? They go, what?
But one thing you will not do anymore is drive the fan bus anymore. Remember you took us one time to the state volleyball game. You said, never again.
He's probably kidding.
Too right.
I don't know. He might have been serious.
I don't know. He looks serious.
Well, it's different, that's for sure. And kids say, that old show, kids say the darndest things, and sometimes they do. Little girl I pick up down here at motel, and every morning when she gets on the bus, gets up on the bus, walks right over to him, gives him a big hug, and says, I love you. And I said, well, I love you too, honey. And to me, that breaks my heart.
Well, yeah.
It really does.
Paul's been waiting his whole life for a kid to love him.
Yeah, Mom, please tell me you love me.
You're going to go get a tattoo, change your tattoo from your own name. That's why you put your own name on your arm.
Yeah,
Who do you love the most?
Driving a school bus is an experience. There's no doubt about it. You talk to anybody that's ever driven one, they'd tell you the same thing. And you go in, you drive a school bus with the same attitude as you do any job you have. You either try to control it the best you can and try to be decent about it. And most kids will mind you once they find out that you may kill them. And
they have to really like you. I mean, because you wouldn't do it. You don't have to do it. So you do it. I mean, you have to enjoy it to do it.
I don't have to do it. You don't know how poor I am. I have to do it. There's no doubt about it. I have a young girl on my bus. This is one more sweet story about that. I have a young girl that's handicapped on my bus. And she got on the bus Monday, and she said, I heard you were going to retire. And she said, I almost had a breakdown. She said, I got so nervous. She said, I don't think I can handle anybody else because she's always getting on my bus. And she has a little trouble walking, and she kind of has trouble. She'll step on my first step. And I say, will you hurry up? You're such a pain.
She gets a kick out of that.
And she does. She loves it. She loves it. And she gets off, and when she gets off, I'll tell her, I said, now, you know I love you, don't you? She said, yes, I know that. But I said, try and have a good day today, would you?
That's good.
She's a sweetheart.
Well, you told us a little bit about how you grew up and what your parents were like, but I kind of want to know what was high school like, and then life after high school.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you about high school.
I'm really interested.
Where did you grow up, and where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Findlay, Illinois. I was a Findlay Falcon, and when I was in junior high, I was a something Tiger. I don't know what it was, but I played sports. I played basketball. I was better at baseball than I was basketball, and I did both. I played baseball in high school. And I'm going to tell you something that nobody knows, and I'm going to say it out loud. I didn't finish school. I quit. I was smarter than anybody else in school, so I quit. And to anybody that's listening to this, nobody knows that. They really don't. And they don't know that because I never told anybody. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I was ashamed of it for a long time, but I'm not anymore. Hell, I've done real well in my life. I really have. I've had opportunities in my life. I lived in California for a little over a year and had a job out there as a clothing salesman.
San Francisco area? Is that was Northern California, right?
Just outside of San Francisco.
And you love that area, right?
I do. I loved it a lot. And we were young married people. My wife was pregnant with my daughter Tamara.
Did you live next door to Clint Eastwood? Because I think you lived right up in there.
Oh, my God, if I had him. Oh, Jesus.
Well, you would have gotten
cookouts.
If you would have gotten one look at you would have been in so many movies, Paul.
Nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog.
Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry, you bet.
You'd have been standing right next to him as his
another good one from Dirty Harry is, can I make a statement?
Sure.
Your mouthwash ain't making it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I love him.
But the little lady wanted to come back to the Midwest, so you guys came back, right?
But when I was out there, I managed first thing I did, because I loved managing baseball. I really did. I had a lot of fun with my kids. So I took on a Little League team, and they were 8 to 10, I think is what they were.
That was before you even had kids at all, right?
Oh, yeah. And I took this team on.
How old were you?
When I moved to California, I was just turned 21, I think. And as a matter of fact, I bought my first beer in California when I was only 20. My brother-in-law said he drank Lucky Lager beer or some odd name like that. And he said, would you go buy me a 6-pack of beer? And I said, yeah, but I said, I'm not 21. He said, oh, okay. I said, wait a minute. I'd have pulled out a driver's license and said I was 27 or something like that. And so I took that over there with me, and I told the guy what I wanted. I handed him that. It was, you don't remember these. It was a gray looking, had your date of birth and all that kind. He looked at me and he said, 27?
It was probably Illinois driver's license.
Oh, yeah,
he's like,
so anyhow, and he sold me the beer. But anyhow, I had opportunity after opportunity to move up in jobs. A lot of opportunity. Because, when I'm telling you this for sure, for one reason and one reason I couldn't do it, the lack of education. You've got to have an education. These guys offered me a job. I got jobs from accountants. I got job offers from high officials in the airport. And it wasn't because I was good at what I was doing. I got along with the kids. And here I go.
I remember you told me that back about the California.
Yeah,
like you had a couple offers and you couldn't just.
And another thing is, I look good. I did. I look good. And
your looks never fade.
That's right.
Age like fine wine.
Yeah. And
you still get mistaken for young Elvis.
I had to turn him down because I knew I couldn't do anything like that because I didn't have the education. So that's what I'm saying. It's so important to get an education. If you go to college, you graduate from college, and go on to be whatever, and your mother and father say, "Oh, Mason, we want you to be a doctor." Ugh. Mason, you should say, "No, I want to drive a garbage truck. Then that's what you should do. That's what you should do. Do what you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you what to do.
Amen.
And I mean that. Don't let anybody. Go with your heart in everything that you do. That's so important. So important.
Worked out for Evil Knievel.
Yeah. And it's all. And I could have done a lot of things if I would have had the education. And I'm serious when I say that. I'm not joking about that. It's so important to get an education.
So did you have, when you were a youngster in Findlay, did you have Jill's grandmother, Hazel Cole?
Oh, yes.
As a teacher?
Loved Hazel. I'm not just saying that. I loved Hazel. I really did.
Really?
She was a good teacher. The only thing that about Hazel was she kept saying to me, Polly, where's the pictures you colored? And I'd say, I lost them. Well, you need to turn those in. I was just sticking them in my desk here. I was not a good colorer. And then, I sit around these kids that always stayed in the line, and they, so I,
So you were embarrassed of your colors, so you would rather
very
tell her
embar-
you failed to do them?
Exactly. The same reason why I hid my workbook in the washing machine when I was in the 4th grade,
Why would you do that?
because I didn't want to do it. I
Giving
did
these-
not want to do it.
Giving these kids on these buses ideas now that you're driving around.
You know what? I'm not bragging about that stuff, but I did it. That's why I'm telling you. I did do that stuff, and it's not a good thing. I'll tell you what happened to me in school, and this is another true story. When I was in the 2nd grade, this is before I locked the doors and chased a girl around and tried to kiss her. I got in trouble for that, but
Go to jail for that today. You're a kid.
but anyhow, I had a teacher. Her name was Grace Baker, and we had workbooks that we filled out. I took my workbook home. I filled it all the way out, and I was having a good time doing it. So I take it to school the next day, and she's telling what we should have filled out. And she came over and she took my workbook, and she looked at it, and she said, you weren't supposed to fill all this out. You weren't supposed to do this. And then she just slapped the shit out of me. And she did. I mean, she backhanded me, and I thought, all right, don't worry about it. I won't do it anymore. And I didn't. God rest her soul, but I hated her till the day she died. And that's another truth. I did. I never did like that woman after that. And after that, I never did like school. So that's what I'm blaming it on.
She ruined you.
Honest to God, I think she did.
Yep.
But anyhow, I had a Mr. Paul Bennett. I don't know if any of you guys ever knew him or not. He was a principal for Shelbyville for a short time in high school. The lady I said that's backhanded me, Mrs. Baker, her husband was the principal, A.F. Baker. Not a nice man. But anyhow, after he retired, when I told A.F., when I decided I'd leave school, I went to him and I said, I'm going to leave school. And as a good teacher and a good man as he was, he said, I think that's a good idea. How many people do you know that would say that?
I would say
Isn't that
that's a
awful?
great idea.
That is
Yeah,
terrible.
isn't that awful? So, anyhow, in the
That's
meantime,
awful.
Mr. Bennett came to me, who became principal after he retired. He came to me and he said, Paul, I'll do anything that I can for you to stay in school. He said, I'll help you in any way that you want me to. He said, please don't leave school. He said, and I love that man till the day he died.
Yeah.
But it was too late.
Well, it's amazing how impactful, teachers and coaches and early people are in your life that you remember forever, that a lot of them I don't know. I mean, really good ones
I'm
don't.
getting upset. I got to take another drink.
of that drink you love so much.
How's it taste now?
Nah. But yeah,
Still not good?
It's okay. It's okay. But
Well, really good teachers and coaches and people, just like those kids you're talking to on the bus.
So important. It's so
absolutely.
important. So important. They are the most underpaid people that I can think of in a job that is so important because it does leave such an impact on kids.
Well, and I think so many of them too don't realize how much they impacted people.
No, I'm sure that's true.
How many times that I've ran into a teacher or told a story about someone else or a coach, and I don't even, they probably don't even really have a memory of it, but it still is something that a kid takes pride in or remembers that they gave him an opportunity or something, and that kid's now 50 years old. You know, it shaped a lot of things in their life.
You never forget those people. Lawrence Campfield was my geography teacher in some other study. I can't remember what it was right now. I loved the man. And I'd see him. He's gone now. But I would see him, and I'd say, "Hi, Mr. Campfield." "Paul, you can call me Lawrence." "No, I can't."
Oh, yeah, no.
"No, I can't." And they still can't to this day.
No, the same way. Any teachers I see, you still call them Mr. or Mrs. or Coach or whatever.
Mr. Ward was my world history teacher. And we were talking about some general or during the war, and he said, he was this kind of teacher. "Mr. Brooks, can you tell me all about him?" And I said, "Yes, sir." "What do you know about him?" I said, "I think he played third base for the Salvation Army." He said, get out, and don't come back."
Which is why we lead back to when you went to the principal and said, "I think I'm going to leave school." He said, "I think that's a good idea." But he could have at least thrown you a bone and said, "Are you at least, I mean, you're going to the service or something." But no, he's just like, "Nah, you're out of here." That's the main thing.
But anyhow.
So tell me about the story there's two work stories. Well, I know your main occupation was that you did forever is you worked for the state of Illinois, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Everybody from, what were the years?
I started there in, if I remember, in 1979, and I worked until I was 60 years old, and I had I bought a couple years with my time. I had 28 years in altogether.
So.
And I left, and I have never missed it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the people I worked with. I didn't get along with them. They were hard. They were rude to people. They weren't nice to people. And I could understand why nobody liked them when they'd come in the door. So anyhow.
Well, the part that was funny is because every single person from that time, you would go get your driver's license when you're 16, and Paul was the one.
He was the guy you ride around the car with to get the...
Yeah, Paul gave everybody their driver's license for all those years. So all of us grew up and we all knew who Paul was. And
I can imagine there's a lot of stories from those kids.
Not so much kids as it is with the older people, but but I still have kids that will come up to me and say, "Oh, you gave me my driver's license." I said, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
They don't realize Paul has no memory, short-term memory.
But no, actually, the great memories about being doing that kind of a job is the older people, because 9 out of 10 of them would come in the door and they're scared to death. Number one, and what people in that age.
Well, they have horrible fear.
Oh yeah.
Not getting their license.
You're taking their mobility away from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I always told them, I don't want you to fail this test, because I don't want to have to take you out again. I don't want to mess with you anymore. I want you to pass your test. And I always made them feel a bit better. And there's the ones that no matter what you say to them and no matter what you did, they were never going to be able to drive a car again, because it was just far, far too scary. It really was. It was time for him to give it. And I told my own mother that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why she said something bad about me before she died. I don't sure, but...
Maybe it's because you told her she looked like a toad when you were little. No.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more from Paul. Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show. We're going to hear some more from Paul and try a new soda. This is the blue cream soda, and it is called a... What is it? What does the bottle look like? Jack Black cream soda, blue cream soda. So let's try it out.
Hopefully it's as good as the first one, Paul.
To me, it tastes like cotton candy.
I like the first one better, but...
That is right in my wheelhouse. I love it.
Really?
Yes.
So you're a legit cream soda guy,
I am a cream soda guy. That's sweet. It's smooth. It goes down easy. But I do like that a lot.
I think it's better than the cherry one. At least
that's fine. That's why America's still America, at least a little while longer. We can all have different loves and agree to disagree. That's fine.
No, I just thought maybe the host would give me a little more than that. I didn't.
I can get you more.
You're trying
I got
to
a whole bottle.
Paul just sucked a little off the ice cube, and it tasted good what he had.
Here, so you don't complain anymore.
There you go, Paul.
All right.
So, Paul, tell us a little bit about. So we heard, what you did for the bulk of your career was working at the driver's place.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
during that time and since, there's a couple things I want to ask about that I know about. But you raised 2 kids
Yes,
with your wife Kay,
absolutely.
She's passed away.
This will be her 7th year. She's been gone.
Yeah, it's just hard to believe. But so Kay, and then you had well, I'll let you talk about your family and your kids.
Sorry. Tamara was born March the 8th, 1963. We had been living in California at the time, and she was born in Marin County Hospital. Her hospital bill was
Wow.
$220, and the doctor's bill was $272. And when I went to check her out, I said, I'm going to take my wife home. Well, you owe us $272 or whatever it was. Well, you have to pay that. I said, I don't have $50, let alone $270. Well, you have to pay us.
You're going to have to take out a loan and buy your kid.
But anyhow, as it turned out, her grandmother had sent us, right on time, by the way, let me think what you called it. It was a
Check?
no, check. It was it was like a check, but it's
Savings bond?
Exactly. Thank you. It was a savings bond, and that's how we paid for Tamara. And she was 8 pounds, 3 ounces, I think, when she was born. Had a head like a cone head, but and then Sam was born on always get this wrong, May the 29th, or was it 25th, 1969, and he was born here in Shelbyville by Dr. Larson, delivered him.
Oh, yeah.
And as I say, the rest is history. They both graduated from ISU. No, Tamara did. Sam graduated from, thank God, graduated from Eastern. Took him a little while, but he made it. Tamara.
Well, he and Jeff were good friends, and they kind of took the same winding route. In the end, they did just fine. They just took the scenic route.
Tamara was a French major and taught school at U High there in Bloomington, and was not a teacher. She didn't care for it. For some reason, I don't know what her reasoning was. And when we'd meet kids in the mall a lot of times when we'd be up there, and they'd all act like that they really liked her, and they'd speak French to her, and she'd speak French to them. And but she just didn't care for it. And then, of course, you know where she's at now. She and her husband run Drewby's restaurant here in Shelbyville. Been very successful with that.
They say that's probably, what is that? How long has that been?
Well, Drew was not quite a year old when they started it. And he's 20, or is he 30? I don't know. He's
Tough to keep
29 or
track of.
30.
When you get to the
Yeah.
grandkids, it gets.
Yeah. But
I know they've been around a long
time.
time.
A long time.
Done well with it.
And
Which leads me to a story I have to make you stop and tell this, or at least maybe I'll tell it and you can confirm if it's true. But it's probably not even that funny. It's just funny to me because I've known you since, well, you've known me since I was born, before I even realized who you were. But so when you first retired and you were just kind of piddling around, you were working at Drewby's a little bit, doing some deliveries and stuff when they would get shorthanded or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a little car you were driving, and I think you opened the door or something you said to put in the passenger seat to put the food in, and for some reason you didn't get the door latched, so you took off down Main Street driving and your door swung open. You just kept going.
wasn't any point in stopping then. But, no, I did that for a while from him, and then you wouldn't think your daughter would fire you, but she did. She fired me off the job. So
Well,
no, I
mean, there's a minimum standard you got to meet, Paul, no matter even if you're blood.
but they just, and besides that, the tip sucked anyhow. So I didn't want to do it anymore anyhow. But no, I did that, and I worked at a little factory over at Sullivan when I first retired. I stayed home the first month I retired. I retired in December, which is not a good time to retire.
Right.
But I stayed home the whole month, and I gained about 30 pounds sitting at home eating the whole time. And I decided I can't do this. Time to, end of January, I'll weigh 400 pounds. So I decided to go find a job, and I got a job over there at the factory over there, and was there for a month or so, about 2 months. And bless their hearts, I went in and I turned my time in. I said, I'm sorry, I have another job. I was going to go to work for Jake Cole.
Jake's, yeah.
And they said, really? Nobody ever tells us when they're quitting. They just don't show up. Yeah. So I gave them a week's notice that I was going to be there. And then these people that I worked with, 2 months, I'm not exaggerating this story at all, for 2 months. And I go out to go eat lunch, and there's all these people standing up with a cake. Tell me goodbye.
It's been a great eight weeks. The 40 days you've been here.
That one guy said, I've been here for 10 years. They ain't gonna make no damn cake for me. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't know anything about it.
Well, Paul was friendly to everybody. There's still someone in HR over there like, remember that guy that gave us a week's notice? That's unbelievable.
That's the first thing they said to me. Said, nobody gives us notice. No. Nobody. They just don't show up. But anyhow.
Good old Paul did.
I went to work for your grandfather, Jake, and your dad.
That's where we were. So Paul and I worked together for a few years, and that's when I got to know the real Paul.
That was I had fun doing that for a while.
We had some of the hardest. I mean, I've laughed, and then Jim Smith was there with us part. He would come in when we need help, and you talk about you and I would laugh so hard sometimes. Some of the stuff he would say.
He was a character, wasn't he?
Oh, I wish that guy was alive, because you talk about someone that you'd have to have on this show, because Jim Smith was absolutely hilarious.
He was, and didn't mean to be.
No,
he was. He did, but he really was. He was.
Oh yeah.
I remember one time we were on a delivery together, and I said, Jim, think we got time to get some ice cream? Yeah. He said, we can get ice cream. Let's go get ice cream. From then on, every time we get done, he said, let's go get ice cream. I said, we don't have time tonight. But let's get some ice cream. But
no matter what happened, what went wrong, whatever, Jim's famous line was, well, it'll be all right.
Yeah, and that's right. He was just a big old bull,
Right. And like a bull in a china cabinet, too. I mean,
you'd say, could you move this safe for me? Yeah, I'll give it a shot,
Yeah, yeah.
He was strong as a bull.
Well, when you aren't working, Paul, what do you like to do for some of your hobbies?
Oh, gosh, I really don't have any hobbies.
Well, you're a lake guy, right? You got a boat?
Yeah, I got a boat. I enjoy the boat. We do that. I like my biggest thing that I do at home a lot of, and I love to listen to music. That's my favorite pastime. I have an Alexa. I don't have anything fancy, but I have an Alexa, and I listen to a variety of music. I listen to Elvis, of course, some, but I Simply Red. You ever heard of Simply Red?
I don't think so.
I love his music. I like all kinds of music. Not a big, huge fan of country and western music, but the newer stuff's not too bad. The old stuff, I just can't get to it.
It's interesting how big your generation still is on music. And I think it's before, because you guys grew up when TV was just starting to get going, and then it was before all this other garbage. So I think you guys are really audio people still.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember I was telling a story one time where Coach Hurtis was on, and this has been years ago, but I had to stop by. It was right after his wife had passed away, and dropped something off. I don't remember what it was. I was knocking on the door, and, no answer. Finally, I opened the thing up, and he had his Alexa gun. Somebody had gotten him an Alexa, and it surprised me how much music. But what surprised me more is the fact that he was running the vacuum, and he only had a pair of shorts on. And I asked him, I said, did a bear break in here and start vacuuming? Oh no, he turned around and it was him.
Big grizzly.
And Chewbacca was in there running a vacuum.
Well, when you get older and you live alone, there's a lot of things you do like that. It's, but I'd like to sit in my recliner at night a lot of times, just kick back in my recliner and listen to different music. I guess Simply Red. Adele, I absolutely love Adele. No, I would get married again if it was Adele.
I think you didn't say Barbara Streisand.
I
I
hope,
got
you
to
don't
play.
play, I hope you don't play this to Becky because she would go, I knew it. You love Adele more than you do me.
Like, well, yes.
But I love Adele, and I've got a couple of her, or I got an album of hers that I love, and I camped for a short period of time. I wasn't a big camper. I did on account of Becky. I camped with her, but as she found out, it wasn't as much fun because she camped with her kids,
Right.
and did a lot of that stuff.
You guys go out, sit, and stare at each
Yeah,
other.
you go out, sit, and stare, and first thing you know, you got 2 bottles of wine going. You're going, hey, you ready to go to bed? Hey.
And you're thinking, it'd be
Sit
great
around
to
the
be
fire and
home in my own
next
bed
thing
right
you
now
know,
and take a
you're-
shower.
Next thing you know, your flip flops are on fire because you were sitting too close to the fire, too drunk to even feel it, And but I sold my camper and we bought the boat and we both enjoy the boat a lot.
Yeah.
We really do.
You still keep it. You keep it out.
Yeah, I have a slip for it at the marina, and I wouldn't have one if I couldn't have a slip. I end
Right.
up hauling back and forth. It's not for. Well, I'm getting older. I don't need that crap, but I enjoy doing that. I enjoy.
Would you consider bus driving more of a thing, like a hobby?
I
Thing you like
consider
to do?
bus driving keeps me young.
Yeah, it's a time
Younger.
filler for you, and you're around all those kids that you like so much.
And I enjoy the kids, and not that they don't get on my nerves once in a while, because they do, because they're kids.
Oh, trust me, I know. I've seen you in action.
And and if I correct them in a loud voice or whatever, I have an intercom, thank God.
He gets on the intercom and he goes, blows into it as loud as he can. That's what he does.
I tell them, or they get on
Loud.
my bus. I said, I tell them the rules, and I said, and it could be the basketball boys, whoever it is. I tell them the rules. I said, this is what you do. You don't stand up. You stay in your seat. Try to stay out of the aisle best you can. I'm not a big one on that, but try to stay out the aisle. And then I said, are we clear? And they'll say, yeah. And then I will say, are we clear? And they'll say, yes, we're clear. And that usually takes care of it.
Like, drive, old man.
Yeah. And I got that from the movie, was it Two Good Men? Are we
A
clear?
Few?
Oh, that's the other thing I say. Are we clear? They'll say, yeah. Are we clear? Yes. Crystal. Say crystal. Are we clear?
Were you a
Crystal.
Jack Nicholson
Yeah,
fan?
yeah. I love that. But I do that to them. And like I said, I tease them when they get on off the bus. A lot of them have been riding with me for a long time, especially the little ones been riding with me for a couple of years. They'll get on the bus and I'll look at them and say, do you ride this bus? Yes, you know I ride this bus.
Well, what's cool is you were saying that you worked at the state of Illinois, the driver's license place for 30 years, and then now you drive a school bus, so you connect with the older generation, and now there's going to be a whole group of my generation who remember
Yes,
everything.
And believe it or not, my kids remember who their bus driver was.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Gill. I talk about Miss Gill a lot, but yeah, that's right. That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go fall back a little bit on you here. When I was 18 years old, first place I went to was New Orleans with my 2 cousins and another friend. Left to Findlay with $40 and went to New Orleans. Of course, money was gone time we got there. Didn't have any money at all. Went down to the docks, tried to find a job, and the guy says, go down there. There'll be people down there, and you've seen this in movies probably. Hey, you, and you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of us got picked, and it was when U-Ban coffee first came out on the market, and one of us got picked, and what you did, you'd go around and deliver these little jars of U-Ban coffee, hang them on a doorknob, and the rest of us just hung around, We slept out in the swamps in a car. We tried sleeping outside, and the mosquitoes were so damn bad you couldn't stand to be out. So we started back, and we had green stamps. And that's how we got back gasoline-wise. That's the only way we got back. But we didn't have any money.
That's crazy.
You need to take a break.
Sounds like a great
Okay.
trip for.
It was a great trip to find out how really stupid you are. Oh, and the best trip of that was we were coming back through Mississippi. I'm driving, and we go through this little Duck Hill, Mississippi. I get almost through town, about the size of Findlay. Get through there, and I look in the rear mirror, lights flash. It's a cop. Pulled me over, and he said, boy, you see that stoplight back there? And I said, no, sir, I did not. It was up in a tree, and I'm not exaggerating. It was up in a tree. You couldn't even see it. You come back with me. Go see the Justice of Peace. Take this little
Like the Andy
grocery-
Griffith Show, right?
Yeah. Took us this little grocery store. This guy sitting in there, and he said, this is the Justice of Peace. And he told me, this young man running red light. And then the guy looked at me, and he said, well, it'll be a $5 fine. I said, I don't have $5. Where you from, boy? I said, from Illinois. And you don't have $5? I said, no, sir, I don't. You know, you can go to jail, which I was hoping for because I was starving to death. I was starving to death. And he said, I don't want to put you in jail for $5. I said, I'm sorry. Do you have something you can sell? I said, like what? Your spare tire. I said, no, I'm not selling my spare tire. So he said, go out, and there's that little porch out front. Go out and stand on that front porch. He came out, the sheriff came out then about 10 minutes later. And he looked at me and he said, I got a boy just your age, and I don't want to see anybody put in jail, especially him. And I don't want you to go to jail. You get your ass back in that car and you beat feet, and don't you ever come back here again. And that was the end of that story.
Little did he know you went back to Tupelo one time to see where the king grew up. So.
Oh, I got back to the car and I went, ha, ha, ha.
Close one.
Hung on to that $20 bill in my pocket.
No, we did not. We had nothing. And green stamps from Star. You don't remember those either.
No.
Star gave out stamps, and you take them in and you get so much gas. And that's how we got back.
So when did you meet Kay?
I met Kay, met her at a party. Didn't know her at all. Never met her before. And I was supposed to be with, I was supposed to be with this other girl. Anyhow, we went to a party, and I went, my good friend Larry Stroll, who is also gone, by the way, went with him. And, of course, he knew Kay. Anyhow, everybody was talking and dancing, and she came over to sit down beside me, and we just started talking. And she told me a joke about Sky Blackwell. And I never laughed so damn hard in my lifetime. It was real long. And the moral of the story is some guy killed his family, his whole family, and murdered, you know. And at the end of the story, the guy finally found him, and he said, aren't you the one that killed my family and dog and all that? And the guy said, yeah, what about? And the guy said, watch that shit.
For some reason, it hit you, and you absolutely...
And then we started talking, and then we started going out for Coke, not dating, just Coke and drink, and she was pretty terrific. And then we, yeah.
How long did you date before you got married?
Or
how long from the time you knew her till you got married, I guess?
Let's see, probably close to a year, maybe a little bit more than a year.
And then how long were you married before you moved to California?
Oh, we moved to California the same year we got married. Not so much, but we wanted to go. It was kind of like a request from her mother, who was a very attractive lady, a nice lady, kind, considerate, lovable, charming, poised, graceful. But anyhow, she was rather kind of drove us out of town. So when they came up and said, we're going to pay for the gasoline for you kids to move to California, because as her husband would say, mother can't stand this. Can't stand what? Your daughter's going to have a baby. What's the big tragedy? Back then, I guess it was a tragedy. I don't know. But anyhow, so we moved to California, and that's where I started working at clothing. She had two sisters out there, who both of them were very successful. And we lived with them for a short period, and then we got our own place. I had a 57 Chevrolet. You had to park on the hill or roll down the hill, or it wouldn't start. And I made $65 a week at that time. Again, this was 1962 or 3 in that area. Well, Tammy was born 63, and this was before she was born. But anyhow, average income was about $15,000 a year in Marin County, which was a ton of money back then.
Oh, yeah.
And I was making about $8,000 a year, so we were starving to death.
Yeah.
But we made it. It's just another experience that you go through. But when I'd come home in the evening, Kay would either be crying or, but she was home all day or in the apartment all day by herself. The TV we had, you had to change all the channels with a pair of pliers, and
we had one of those.
Then kick it real hard to get it to work. And We had a sofa that was belonged to somebody else.
So she was living the California dream.
She was. She really was. She baked me a chocolate pie. She knew I liked chocolate pie, so she said, "I'll bake you a chocolate pie." I said, "Great." We had a little tiny dinette set. I mean, tiny. It wasn't any bigger than that. Enough room for 2 chairs. She said, "You want some pie?" And I said, "Yeah." I had my plate out there. She brought the pie out. She just tipped it upside and it poured out like you're pouring chocolate milk. She said, "I'll bake you a cake, but I'll never make you another pie." And she never did after that. She was a hell of a cake baker, but she couldn't make a pie worth a crap. But and we lived out there not quite a year, or maybe a little bit over a year. But when we came back, I still had that 57 Chevrolet. And right on Nebraska, I think I blew a piston. And when we rode down the road in that thing, it looked like one of those jets where the white smoke comes out the back. I mean, people would go by me on the freeway going,
Yeah, looking at you like
looking at me. And then it would get so low on oil that I had to stop. There was nothing I could do. I had to stop. So I'd pull over to the side of the road a little bit. And once I stopped, it wouldn't start. But I had to, or the engine would have blown all the way. So I had 2 or 3 gallon jugs of oil in the trunk.
Wow.
I didn't even check it. I just take the top off and pour
Got
oil
to the point
in,
where you
know.
just started pouring it in.
Yeah. And then I'd go back out, and it's hot. Man, it's hot. And Tammy was just a baby. We had her, of course, back then you didn't have seat belts and all that kind of crap.
Right.
We had her in a little basket in the back seat.
Good old days.
And she'd be in that little basket asleep. I'd walk out, stand in the middle of the road, and I'll
Tell somebody to come by and push you down the road to
yeah,
start the car.
stand out in the middle of the road, and I just hold my hand up. And I'll tell you what, I got people this close to me before they'd stop. But they did. They'd finally stop, and what's your problem, pal? I said, all I need is 2 feet. I'll pop that clutch, and I said, it'll start just like that. Well, a lot of people don't like to do that. Oh, they tear my bumper. Well, I'll piss on your bumper, But they did. They'd give me a little push. I'd pop the clutch, and away we'd go. And we'd come back to California like that. Then I got a job at Myers Brothers in Springfield. I drove it back and forth from Springfield. And it was the same way. I mean, the white smoke, it was ridiculous.
It's like Uncle Buck whenever he's driving his car.
Exactly. That's a good point. But anyhow, I did that.
What about Biederman's?
Biederman's Furniture. Oh, yeah. That was not a good time in my life. That was not a good time.
Why was it not a good time in your life? When was this, the 70s?
Yeah, it was about probably very early 70s. I got a job over there, and I was a damn good salesman. And I went to Wyoming, worked on a ranch in Wyoming for a few months. I left here in first part of June with my cousin, and we worked for James A. Greenwood. First, we stopped at Jackson Hole, worked at Jackson Hole for a couple of weeks, and I worked with a couple of guys from Boston, Biff and Patty. Oh, boy, were they jerks. But and they knew the owner, so they got to swim in the pool. We had to go down and swim in the creek, but we worked right on the Snake River, and that was Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
That's pretty cool.
And, beautiful. And then we left there and went down to around Pinedale and Big Piney, Wyoming, and worked for James A. Greenwood on a ranch. We pulled in there, and nicest people you'd ever want to meet in your life, terrific people. He put us up in the bunkhouse, and we started baling hay, putting up hay. About a week later, we stayed there about a week before we actually went to work, but we started putting up hay. In that one field alone, we put up over 100,000 bales of hay. They had a tractor that had a big sweep on front of it, and they'd push it up to us, and we'd start stacking and build a pyramid up so high. And we did that for from about last part of June and up till latter part of September. Did that every day. I think the whole time I was there, I probably took maybe 2 baths.
Oh,
The whole time there wasn't any place to go. The place we were staying at didn't have water. They had their stuff had run out of water. We finally told Jack, as my cousin, we've got to get a bath. My bed is so full of crap that I can't even lay on it anymore. So we went down to the Green River, took a bar soap, and went down to the Green River And if you ever been in the Green River, you talk about shrinkage. Oh my God!
Coming out of the mountains, a little chilly water.
Oh man, that water's
Feel
cold.
like George Costanza.
Yeah, exactly. That water's so cold. But we got a bath that time, and then we went for a long time without taking another bath. And the deal was we could go into the little store in Big Piney and buy anything we wanted to and put it on his account. Like, of course, we were all smokers, and we bought a couple pair of jeans and gloves and that kind of stuff. And we always charged it to him. And then he would take it out of our wages at the end of the year, because he never paid us the whole time. And he would take us out of our wages at the end of the year. So the day we finished up, we went in, met him at his home. Well, it wasn't really his home. His home was, he probably wouldn't even let us at the front door, but anyway, but he was a nice guy. But yeah, he took us in there and he said, this is what you guys owe at the store. Okay, we agreed to that. But he said, he just tore them all up. He said, I'm not going to take that out of your wages. He said, you stayed with me all summer. And he said, I appreciate that. So he said, he just tore that all up. And threw it. It wasn't that much anyhow, but he threw that all away. And he gave us a cashier's check, and I wish I could remember how much it was, but I don't remember. It was about $900 or something. It wasn't a whole lot. But
I thought for sure you were going to say, after we totaled this up and what you pay, you owe me $30.
That's probably would have happened. But anyhow, so Jack and I went into, we keep in mind now, we hadn't shaved, hadn't bathed, and still had, I had the old dirty cowboy hat on. I had the old boots, everything. And we went into this little motel, and this lady behind the counter, I said, we want a room so we can clean up or whatever, She said, okay. So we went in, we get all showered and cleaned up and shaved and come back out and went up to pay her, and she said, who are you guys? I said, well, we were just here. Really? The same two guys? I said, yeah.
Unrecognizable.
Unrecognizable. And then we caught a ride to the nearest railroad station, which was Rock Springs, Wyoming, which was 100 miles away. And this guy took us down to the train. We got caught the train, went to St. Louis, and then took a bus home. And it's the best shape I've ever been in my life.
Oh, I bet.
It's the best
Working
shape I've
out,
ever been in
Doing
my life.
that every single day. Sweating.
So anyhow, I did that too. Then I went to work at Mueller's. This all before I went to California and make my $1 million and then came back.
Paying for gold.
We're going to come back in just a second with a little bit more from Paul, and we'll wrap things up. Welcome back again to the Mason Miller Show. And we're going to have a little more of a conversation with Paul here and wrap things up on tonight's episode. And one question I do have is, what do you want both my generation and my dad's generation to remember you by?
How do you narrow that down, Paul?
There's so many things that I'm famous for. I have to think about it a little bit.
I know it's a loaded question.
No, it's not a loaded question. That's a good question. I think what I'd like to really be remembered for was pretty kind to everybody, try to be nice to everybody, and I've had a good life. I've had a real good life. I mean, I had a wonderful wife for 54 years, and the person I'm with now, she and I get along real well, even though we'll never get married again. But it's not because I don't love her. It's just because I'm too old to get married again, and I don't want to get married again. I like the way I live. She likes the way she lives. But
Well, think of the hearts you would break, too.
Oh, yeah, I think about that a lot, too, It's just like when Kay first passed away, I was sitting out at the restaurant, and one of the waitresses came up to me, and Kay had been gone a while. And she said, I'll bet your phone's just ringing off the wall, isn't it? And I said, no, it's not. Well, it will. It never did. It never did. And, but like I said earlier, I just want to be remembered as a pretty nice guy and got along with everybody and try to be as kind as I can to somebody. But and I got a lot of friends. And that's important. That's important to me. And I don't know what to say. I haven't done anything famous to be remembered for, that's for sure. But I just want to remember as, oh, yeah, Paul wasn't too bad a guy. He was okay,
Do you ever, when you wake up and you look in the mirror and you think, it's kind of hard looking this good all the time? Is it kind of a blessing and a curse?
I think it's natural.
Actually, I'm so used to it, it doesn't bother me at all.
You've lived with it your whole life.
Yeah, I've lived with it my whole life, And I always tell people, they'll say, "Oh, I just look awful." I said, "How many times do you get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, 'Oh, God, I look awful'?" I always get up and say, "Hey,
Hey.
not too bad at all, you know." And, you know,
Yeah, that's a good frame of mind, though. That's probably right. You're like, yeah.
I joke about that a lot. I really do. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a modest person at all. That's for damn sure. But I've had my share of good times in life, and probably more than I really should have had. But you know, I've made a lot of friends, and I'm just like you guys sitting right here. I love it. I absolutely love it. And people I've worked with over the years, always got along with. Not all of them, but some of them I didn't. But always got along good with them, and it's easy.
Good family, good kids, good grandkids.
That's right. That's the blessing
Great
of life right
grandkids.
there. And all my siblings, there were 6 of us, we're all alive. That's amazing in itself.
That is.
That's
really.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Bill's 80, he'll soon be 89. Ronnie's 81. No, wait a minute. Is that right? Yeah, 81. I'm 79. Charlotte is 76. I think she's 76 or 75. And Marilyn, I think, is 72. I think I'm right on that. And we're all alive. And still, of course, Bill's not the healthiest one in the bunch, but we're so lucky to have that. We're so lucky just to have that. And the day that I lost Kay, I lost her the day when she was dying. The doctor came over to me and he said, it won't be long. And I said to him, "Well, load her up. I'm taking her home. I don't want her to die in the hospital." No, he said, "Paul," he said, "she won't make it home." We put her in hospice, and she lasted 20 minutes. I watched her die. I totally watched her die. She did not die in any pain. She was content. She was just like they say, she went to sleep, and that was it. And ever since then, I have her picture right up on the mantle where I talk to her all the time. And the first thing I said to her is, "Please don't watch all the time, because I don't want you to see everything." And I tell God, and I do believe in God, and I believe Jesus Christ is my Savior. And I tell Jesus all the time, give me an hour or so to talk to her before you decide what you want to do with me. Because if you're going to put me in hell, let me talk to her before you do, because I want to tell her how much I loved her, and I want to apologize to her.
I think you'll be fine. The funny thing is, do you think, like everybody knew Kay, loved Kay. I mean, she was a great person, all that. One critique I would have of Kay is not the best judge of character, because she used to think that Jeff, my brother, was just pure as the driven snow. And
Well, now listen, that's not being fair to Kay, because I did too. I didn't know him either. I heard a lot about Jeff and everybody. You know, what a great kid he was. And even Sam just, he's a great guy, you know. He wasn't a bad kid. He just, like all the rest of us.
he was just as ornery as
Exactly,
so.
exactly. And he even told me one time, he played baseball at Mizzou, you know. He said, between school and baseball and partying, he had a tough time.
Yeah.
And he admitted about that. But
he grew up a lot, that's for sure. When he was
yeah,
in school.
I always liked Jeff, always will. So,
Well, Paul, we've had a great time having you on the show tonight. And
sure
I think
you
it's
did.
been
I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know. Are you kidding?
it's been a lot of fun talking about Elvis, especially during Elvis week, and hearing about all your crazy stories. And I think it was just a great episode.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate you having me, and I hope you did enjoy it, because I did. I certainly did.
Yeah.
I like to talk about myself. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you
it.
coming on tonight, and hopefully one day we'll get to talk about Elvis again sometime.
Anytime you want to talk about Elvis, I'll talk to you.
And don't forget, all the sodas we drank tonight will be available at Jake's. It's a whole new shipment, all new flavors, so come check it out. And that's it for tonight's episode. Thanks for listening.